Commercial Liability Insurance, Business 506, California Lutheran University. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to discuss business liability exposures and describe the section of a commercial general liability insurance policy. So, commercial general liability, or CGL, insurance is designed to cover a variety of loss exposures, including premises liability, business operations liability, and products liability. Also, completed operations liability, contractual liability, and contingent liability. In addition to the previously mentioned exposures, firms also faced a host of other liability exposures: environmental pollution, fire legal liability, liquor liability, directors and officers liability, and that's sometimes overlooked for nonprofits, so that's an important one, personal injury, property in the insured's care, custody, and control, bailment situations, think about dry cleaners, sexual harassment, and EPLI, employment practices liability insurance. The CGL policy contains 5 major sections. Section 1, Coverage A, is bodily injury and property damage. Coverage B is personal and advertising injury. And Coverage C is medical payments. Section 2 is who is an insured. Section 3, limits of insurance. Section 4, commercial general liability conditions. And Section 5, definitions. The CGL policy offered 2 approaches to providing coverage. One is the occurrence form, one is a claims made form. Now, the differences are on the occurrence form, it's claims arising out of occurrences during the policy year, regardless of when the claims were filed. So, if I did something that created triggered a covered event this year, 2013, and the person discovers it in 2015, and they might no longer have insurance with that company, there is coverage for the occurrence that occurred way back when. Second is the claims made form. That provides coverage for claims filed during the policy year, regardless of when the loss-causing events occurred. So it's the opposite of the occurrence form. So it doesn't matter, who was my insurance carrier way back when. If the damage happens, the person's injured, and for a widget made 3 years ago, and that was with a different company, well, now it'll be covered in the claims made form for this year when the claim is made. So we just actually went over that example of an occurrence. Policy period, January through December. On November 8th, the plaintiff fell and was injured while visiting one of the manufacturing facilities. In March, the client sued the insured for their injuries, and the insurance policy that was in effect for the period January 1st, December 31st, 2000 will defend the claim since the accident occurred in 2000. Claims made form. Same company making widgets, and the policy is January to December, and on November 8th, 2000, the plaintiff fell and was injured while visiting the insured's facilities. In March of 2001, the plaintiff sued the insured for their injuries. The insurance policy that was in effect during 2001 will defend the claim since the claim was made during 2001, even though it occurred in 2000. Section 1, Coverage A, bodily injury and property damage liability. The insured agrees to pay on behalf of the insurer agrees to pay on behalf of the insured all sums, including defense costs, up to the policy limit that the insured is legally obligated to pay because of bodily injury or property damage. Some of the common exclusions are expected or intended injury, certain contractual assumptions, pollution liability, liquor liability, workers' compensation or employer liability, aircraft, auto, and watercraft, war, product recall, and directors and officers. Coverage B, personal and advertising injury liability. The insurer agrees to pay on behalf of the insured all sums up to the policy limits that the insured is legally obligated to pay because of personal injury or advertising injury. Personal injury includes false arrest, detention and imprisonment, malicious prosecution, wrongful eviction or entry, libel or slander, violation of privacy. Advertising injury includes oral or written statements that slander or libel, publication of material that violates a person's right to privacy, misappropriation of advertising ideas, and infringement of copyright, titles, or slogans. Major Coverage B exclusions: publication of known false materials, willful violation of penal statutes, failure of non-conforming goods, and false advertising. Medical payments, Coverage C, that the insurer agrees to pay on behalf of the insured all sums up to the policy limits that the insured is legally obligated to pay for medical expenses of persons who are injured in an accident on the premises or on ways next to the premises or as a result of insured's operations. Medical payments differs from workers' compensation because it pays regardless of liability. Section 2. Who is an insured? Well, the named insured and their family, employees of the named insured, certain other persons or organizations. Section 3. Limits of insurance. The limits of insurance state the maximum amount the insurer will pay regardless of the number of insureds, claims made, or suits brought, or persons or organizations making such claims or bringing suits. 6 Section 3 limits apply. 1 is a general aggregate limit. 2nd is a products completed operations aggregate limit. 3rd is personal and advertising injury limit. 4th, each occurrence limit. 5, fire damage limit. 6, medical expense limit. So here's an illustration. On the left side, the general aggregate limit you have for the personal advertising injury. You also have each occurrence, and within there, you'll see fire damage and medical expense. On the right side, we have products completed operations aggregate limit, and that's each occurrence. So in summary, we've had an opportunity to review business liability exposures and the CGL Commercial General Liability Insurance Policy. Thanks for your time.